Action! Hello, and welcome to episode 386 of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk
film and TV making.
From indie film to studio films.
And high-end TV.
And everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
royally F them up.
In our very, very humble opinion.
What do you want from me? Why don't you run from me? What are you wondering? What do you know?
Today on the show, we have the director, the writer, and showrunner of
True Detective Night Country.
It is the fantastic Issa López. Dom Lenoir sat down with Issa and had quite a remarkable chat about making this quite incredible TV series. Dom, what did you chat about fully, in depth?
We talked about getting that call from HBO.
Oh, that call. Oh, that must have been great.
The call everyone wants from HBO.
Yeah, hi, it's HBO.
Yeah.
You haven't paid your subscription.
Yeah, not that cool.
Oh, okay.
We talked about bringing a beloved franchise back to the roots that made it so successful. We talked about choosing a dramatic and immersive location to film and all of that world building. We talked about the extensive development notes and how positive they were.
Oh, that's good.
A really good one. We talked about waiting years for that big break and all the struggles and strife along the way. A really cool one was developing a challenging, exciting and confrontational character with Jodie Foster.
Wow. It's a classic one for you. It's a TV episode. We have had some amazing makers of TV on in the past as well. If you want to listen to them after this, recently we had Mark Jobst on, the director and exec of One Piece. We also had Eben Bolter, the DOP of The Last of Us, and editor Amy Duddleston, who edited Mayor of Easttown.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good on the sort of the prestige TV side, aren't we? We've got three of the best HBO offerings.
Absolutely. So if you want to listen to those, then just go to our website, thefilmmakerspodcast.com, go to podcasts, and then in the search bar there, type in any of those directors, editor, cinematographers, or the TV shows that they belong to, and that podcast will pop up.
Yeah, I've always been on my own mini crusade for HBO. I'm not getting paid by them. I'd like to be getting paid by them, but
instead you're paying them.
Instead I'm paying them. But no, it's. I mean, they've always been like the TV equivalent to me of like prestige drama and like, I mean, so many of the best drama with the most complex, brilliant moods, tones, depth of character have all been on HBO.
In Dom's humble opinion, HBO is the best. There we go.
Is the best. There we go.
As is Lawyer. And we do want other...
we love all the other channels as well. But yeah, but there's a special place. Available. There's a special place in my own sort of style of TV curation for what HBO does. So.
This podcast is sponsored by HBO. It's not, but please do sponsor us. Yeah. That would be nice. Right?
Please.
Listen, True Detective is amazing. It's on, as Dom said, HBO now, and it's on Sky Atlantic. Go watch it if you haven't yet. But if you have, it's literally just finished. The latest episode, the last episode went up the other night, and it is incredible. It has divided. It's bloody explosive, and it's divided the internet about what happens and what has happened and all the hidden Easter eggs that are in there. And there are lots of hidden Easter eggs. There are lots of secrets and twists and turns, and probably you need to have another watch. But if not, there is some amazing forums about what happened, because Issa López has done an incredible job here, because this is it's a chilly saga. It's freezing cold, it must have been, to film. There's references to culture and history and true crime. And it draws a straight line sort of between, that True Detective's rich past and particularly the show's sort of zeitgeist grabbing first season as well.
Polar bearizing, you might say.
Oh, very nice. If you haven't seen it yet, there is a polar bear in this series.
Yeah, makes a few appearances. He's very well trained.
Yeah, very well trained. And it stars Jodie Foster and Callie Reese as detectives, Liz Danvers and Evangeline Navarro. And it was all created by Issa López, our guest today. Obviously, she's the showrunner, but she wrote it, she directed it, and it's the first season of True Detective without the involvement of its actual series creator, Nick Pizzolatto. But it is wonderful that it's gone back to its roots.
Yeah, it actually feels very, very, in line with what he did, which I think is probably an effort from her and also from HBO to do something different, or in any way disrespectful from what he sort of set out to create as well.
It also stars Fiona Shaw, Finn Bennett, Isabella Starr LeBlanc, John Hawes, and the fantastic Christopher Eccleston as well. And do you know what? We'll say it now, but the title song, Bury a Friend, from Billie Eilish, is brilliant. Normally sometimes when you go into a TV series and you're hooked on it, you kind of skip the intro, the thing that comes up, skip the intro. I didn't do it because I love Billie Eilish's song so much on this that it just hooked me into the series every time, to the new episode every time. I love it. But before we get to the episode, a couple of shout outs for our amazing listeners. To be honest, there were so many, I forgot to write a few down. So if you're listening, I'm talking about you as well. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for going on Twitter and Instagram, retweeting, messaging, etc. and emailing in some cases to say, that episode meant something and it helped you get over a hump or just inspired you or just made you feel not alone, which is what we inspire to do. So shout outs to Chris Hughes, John Ginge Moore, Lucille Howe, Faith Elizabeth, Daryl Alden, Jack Downs, Ryan Little, Emma Croft, Isaac Williams, Danny Mulhern, and John, aka @Writing Ted, as well as Jewel Jessingberger and Nerd Life is Tough.
Not to mention Polar Bear.
But he was barely messaging on Twitter,
Cool.
so
There we go.
But he's good on Insta, so there is that.
Yes.
So Issa López, then, the director and creator and showrunner of True Detective Season 4. Her breakout directing credit really with Tiger's Not Afraid, which she wrote and exec produced.
Boy, do we have a story about that.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed you do. She was also the director and writer of Secondary Effects, as well as Cassie Divas. But she started off making lots of shorts, writing them, directing them, producing them, getting them made, before she made her directorial debut. Then she went on to write 2 feature films, including Pulling Strings and 600 Miles.
It was this extensive track record of writing that gave her a springboard to kind of push out into a different genre in Tigers Are Not Afraid, and to get get people to take a chance on her as a director.
It's incredible. All that is coming up in the episode right now. Get your ears ready. Here it is. This is Dom Lenoir's chat with Issa López.
So, welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast.
Hi.
Huge congratulations on True Detective. It's an incredible show.
Thank you.
And I feel like it's a real return to the quality of the first,
right?
The series.
Yeah.
And the tone as well, because, when it first came out, it was groundbreaking. It was sort of had this mystery element that was, very rarely seen in a detective show. And I really feel like you've sort of brought that back. So can you talk about how you first got immersed into this project?
Well, I first of all, I love that first season because it, harking back to I think the very first seed of its origin. True Detective is the name of pulp novels that happened, that published, and were lost, most of them, in the 40s and 50s in the US, and it was pulp, and it was part of a family of publications that also included Strange Detective, and those had a tinge of the supernatural. And it was around the same age that the Lovecraftian nucleus had been exploding in the US, and before Lovecraft got some backlash for certain beliefs that are very questionable.
Yeah.
However, we get this very modern, very gritty, ultra real police case that is with very real characters in a very real setting, which is the backwaters of the Louisiana Bayou, and it has this wave of the supernatural. It has a ritual ritual killings of children and women that seem to be sacrificed to a horned yellow king, a yellow god that, roams beyond in the realm of Carcosa, which is all stinking of that Cthulhu mythology. So the combination of the ultra real and the ultra greedy and the mystical and the supernatural and the Lovecraftian just was like crack to me, and I think for a lot of people. And the second season kind of abandoned completely that side of it, and I felt I missed it.
Yeah,
and
I did as well.
Yeah,
really
and the third
did.
season didn't go there either. It did acknowledge the reality, because it happens in the same world that those murders happen in Louisiana, but it's not part of the experience of the third season. So when I got the call from HBO, the first thing I thought is, let's bring that back.
Yeah.
Let's have something that happens in a very, very real environment. Let's have something that happens in a forgotten corner of America that feels distinctive in landscape, in its inhabitants, in its daily rhythm from the rest of the US. But it's still part of the US. And let's bring back that feeling that there's stuff happening beyond what we can perceive as human beings. And True Detective was born. True Detective Night Country was born.
I mean, you talk about the call from HBO, because I think most filmmakers that I know, like, there's sort of tiers of what you'd like to work on. HBO is probably at the top of everything.
Yeah.
True Detective, it's like a top tier.
Yeah.
It's got so much depth and complexity. How, what sort of got you into the position where you're getting that call from HBO?
Well, I made a movie in Mexico, and I made it in a moment of absolute desperation, because I had been chasing the pipe dream of the Hollywood big movie for, at that point, 7 years.
Yeah.
And I left my career in Mexico and went chasing that dragon, and spent 7 years developing projects that were almost made but didn't get made, as honestly is the case with most projects.
Yeah.
And it got to the point that it was killing my soul. I don't write to survive. I don't direct to survive. I do it to survive at a spiritual level, to pay for tuna can and ramen soup. I can find other venues.
Yeah.
But I couldn't take it anymore. So I went back to Mexico, and I directed a movie that probably nobody wanted to see, or certainly nobody wanted to pay for it to be made. And because the pitch was the children that survive the cartel violence in Mexico are chased by the ghosts of the people they lost. That's not exactly, doesn't spell box office to anybody.
Yeah.
But it came from the heart, and it put together things that I care deeply about, and it combined those two things. It combined the greedy and the supernatural, and characters that have to overcome themselves to get on the other side of the events. So I think HBO gave it that a look. I didn't send it. I think
they
read
did their research
about
on you.
it,
Yeah.
and Casey Blois, who's the head of HBO, got it into his head that there was a way to revive True Detective, and commissioned Francesca Orsi, the head of drama, to find who could do that. And Francesca, who's an incredible creative, and is curious about talent around the world, and is always exploring who has that next unique voice, found Tigers, loved it. And that's when I got the call.
So what was it you did with that film to kind of get it noticed? Was it like more of a festival route? Did you manage to get a good sort of sales agent distribution deal out of it? No.
That movie, I made it, as I said, I had to basically blackmail people. That sounds terrible, but
Twist arms, friendly twist arms.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What really happened there is I was a very successful writer, not director, because that's not me.
Yeah.
Of rom-coms, which really work in Mexico, and And the scripts that I wrote for those rom-coms made movies that were very successful. I cannot watch them if you put a gun to my head.
Yeah.
I will take a bullet first.
Yeah.
But these are terrible.
Yeah.
The scripts were not. It's just that they were butchered. And it's not my genre anyways. But those movies were very successful. So I went to the studio that had been buying my scripts for a long time and making very successful movies with them. And I said, okay, here's my new script. And they took a look at Tigers and they said, we're never going to make this. And I said, I didn't expect any differently.
Yeah.
But if you don't, I'm going to take it to somewhere else. And whomever finances this movie gets all the other scripts.
Okay.
So they ended up financing Tigers.
So you'd built this really like strong track record as a writer, because it's I think it's really, really difficult. I mean, I really resonated with what you said. So this is a filmmaking podcast. We're filmmakers, and there are a lot of directors that will go out there and they'll sort of direct anything. Like for me, it has to be something that's completely personal. It has to really resonate with you. It has to have some kind of meaning.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned about the 7 years, I mean, that's sometimes the reality when you go down that path.
Yes.
And there's people around you making stuff. Maybe they're not as proud of it as you would be of something you're making, but there's people out there making those compromises. And it's like, how do you get past that hurdle when you're like at this sort of standoff of 7 years?
Yeah, I got a lot of pressure to direct those scripts.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't. I think I did sell my butt as a writer in order to pay for the noodles and the tuna, because someone has to do that.
Yeah.
But I could not find it in myself to put my director, the director I carry, into directing that. And I had directed 2 movies at that point, and I cared deeply for both of them. And if it was not going to be like that, I didn't want to direct anything. So I wrote Tigers, which I desperately wanted to direct, and basically push and shove until I got the minimal financing it needed to be made.
Yeah,
and I shot it, and I was very proud of it, and the people that participated in it loved it, and there was reactions that were very positive very early. This is a tiny indie movie. You don't test them in a big screen, right? But then we tried to submit it to all the festivals that you can imagine, starting with the one that was around the corner was Toronto and Venice are around the same time. We sent it to both. We got rejected from both. Not all the visual effects were finished, so we thought, oh, maybe that was it. So we finished the visual effects, and then we sent it to Sundance and Berlin. Yeah, and it got rejected from both. Yeah, and that's when I started to really get worried, because what was it? Was I completely delusional and the movie was not good? So we sent it to Cannes, and we sent it to South by Southwest, and we sent it to Tribeca, and to San Sebastian, and to any festival that you can imagine. And then we ended up getting rejected in every single one of them for a year. And when Venice came around again, I actually considered changing the title and sending it again, just in the over chance that they had overseen it. I didn't know what to do.
Different program, right? Yeah.
But I was very heartbroken.
Yeah. And
I was questioning if I had it in me at all. And in the last attempt, I sent it to, because it is a genre movie. It is a thriller, but it is a horror movie. It's a ghost story. I sent it to Fantastic Fest in Austin, and they loved it.
Amazing.
And that changed everything. And it started to get a lot of word of mouth. Stephen King saw it and lost his mind, tweeted about it. And finally I got Guillermo del Toro. I had been, I didn't know him. So I had been trying to get him by all the 6 degrees of separation and 2 and 3. And I could never get to him. But when King saw it, and then Neil Gaiman saw it, and finally Guillermo saw it and became a massive champion of the movie, it acquired a second life. And it did the whole circuit. And festivals that had rejected us then write asking for the movie, which was funny because I had a rejection letter. Yeah. It ended up a couple of years later playing in a special screening in Toronto Film Festival, and it was a gala function. Yeah. And Guillermo del Toro was leading the Q&A.
Oh, wow.
And it felt like a really nice way to finish that very painful journey. Yeah. And then the movie opened in the US finally years later in 2019, and it got honestly rave reviews. It did amazing. It got 97% in Rotten Tomatoes. and though it was a very, very short, tiny run, it acquired a certain cult status, which is how I think it got to HBO.
Do you have someone else that's there to believe in you? I mean, you mentioned because it's difficult when you know, okay, I'm a good filmmaker, I know how to make good stories. Like I really feel like I can do this, but there's no one fighting your corner, or you haven't got this amazing producer on your side, or you haven't got a studio behind you. What's your kind of technique to get past that? Because I mean, sometimes you can't just go through with self-belief.
Stubbornness, it's just a stubbornness.
Keep going through everything.
There was something, you get beaten and you fall down and you question that you have it or not. But then you watch the movie again with someone who hasn't seen it, any friend, any cousin, and they're destroyed by the movie and moved. And then you go like, it can't be. It can't be.
Yeah.
And then you try again.
Yeah, that's it. You just got to pick yourself up. So great. So let's go back to you've got the call from HBO. At what sort of idea stage are we at when you've got this call? Is there a theme? Is there a script, or are you?
No, I have nothing. I had it was during the pandemic, and I had I was writing several scripts that I had commitments to for projects that I was going to direct, really good projects. But again, the obstacles are endless. And while I was writing like third or fourth drafts with notes that I didn't believe in, and the pandemic hit, you get to a very dark place. And one way that I deal with when my life is falling apart is to start thinking of ideas of my own that nobody asked for. So I've always been a massive fan of murder mysteries and of crime literature, and I never tried it because I feel the rules are obscure and strange, and I don't know the method now I know. I created my own. And I started to think of a murder mystery, and I thought of setting, and I thought it could be really, really interesting to have it in the Arctic or Antarctic. And the disappearance of some scientists. And that was it. It was very, very raw. And I put it away the way you do with your own ideas, because you're busy, and you let them mature yes, exactly, and percolate. And while that was happening, some weeks later, I got a call from HBO saying, would you be interested in coming to us with an idea for True Detective? And I remember that thing. And it was so interesting because the setting is everything. And that all I had was setting.
Yeah.
And the genre.
That's the foundation, isn't it?
Exactly.
For True Detective. Really.
And True Detective is all about the setting. So it was very different from the other three, which is exactly what you're looking for. And it felt that it was meant to be. So I took those very, very initial raw ideas of murder, the Arctic, missing scientists in a research station. And the Arctic exists in the US because True Detective is a little bit of an Americana. And the rest was just by the numbers, it felt that it was that very, very raw idea was perfect to just connect. So where you have the two detectives, I had my two detectives, and they become just as complicated. And Ross Cole is a nihilist, and Evangeline Navarro is a little bit of a mystic, which is the opposite. But it's still very introspective. He talks and he's verbal. She's quiet. She listens.
They're all challenging characters.
They were all very challenging characters. Marty Hart it's a good guy. Everybody likes him. He's an asshole.
Yeah.
But publicly he's a nice guy. And Danvers is the absolute opposite. She's publicly a terrible asshole.
Yeah.
But she has to be hard.
But she's likable as well. I mean, how do you? I mean, the two leads like Jodie and Callie. How did you begin to form them and to start to sort of create those difficult streaks, but also the redeeming features and what you admire about them? Like, how do you sort of start with those complexities?
Well, it's interesting because the one reference that I always go back when writing is curiously the Greeks, Aristotle in the Poetic, which is incredibly a very easy book to read. It's very small. It's very fast. The first few pages are about the 3 acts of the Greek tragedy and how it happens during 3 days in the Dionysiac celebrations. You can skip that part because that's not how we do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then you get to the juicy part of talking who are the characters in tragedy. And tragedy is a word for anything Greek that is not comedy. Which is the book we lost. We don't have how to write comedy, interestingly, but we know how to write drama.
Yeah.
And what he says is the character in tragedy has to have many virtues and one tragic mistake that will doom them. And you cannot forget that. I think in modern tragedy, in drama currently, you have to amplify that massive tragic mistake. And the virtues are smaller, especially in TV, because TV that has been elevated to art form by prestige TV is made around the concept of the anti-hero.
Yes.
So I picked what was the tragic mistake of the both of them and what was a redeeming quality of the both of them. And then the rest is fill in the spaces, and give them characters. And what if one of them plays fantasy football and goes on Tinder? What if the other one is a veteran and has a boyfriend, but she doesn't want to be close to anybody except the one sister she's trying to keep alive?
Yeah.
And what if she lost her identity? And her link to her own community, and you just start exploring and filling those blanks.
Yeah. So okay, so we've built the characters. What's the process collaborating with HBO in terms of the story and the screenwriting process and working out what's going to happen in the episodes and the trajectories of the actual narrative?
Well, you write a pilot.
Yeah. Okay.
And they either love it or hate it. They really, really loved mine.
Great.
But they had endless notes. That's just who they are. They pride themselves in being very hands-on. Bless them.
But good notes.
They are, though, I've worked over the years of developing stuff in Hollywood with many, many, many studios and many, many executives. These guys are the best.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
And that's why they make the things they make.
Because they really care about story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
They will give you notes on everything. To exhaustion in the script process. That said, they will listen. And you negotiate. You pick your battles. You give some. You take some. Some of it is actually good, and some of it doesn't resonate. But maybe you need to always find the note behind the note and understand what is bothering them.
Yeah,
and try to, it's just an excuse for you to go back to the page and make it better on each pass. And as infuriating as it is to get go again when you're very proud of your latest draft.
Yeah.
But then you go again. And even if you don't take a single note, sometimes just going again makes it better. And sometimes you take a bunch of the notes, And then the most important thing in our relationship was when something was core to what I was trying to do, I would say, I'm not going to change that.
Yeah.
Because this is me as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, and this is the reason you called me.
Yes.
So let's not mess with that, and they respect that.
Yeah, I suppose it's keeping the ship going in the right direction, and maybe you change the masts or something, and you turn a slightly different direction, but you're not going off.
But it does
right
make the ship a better vessel.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So, okay, so I mean, you're taking on all of these notes. You're trying to keep the vision that you've initially come up with alive. What was the process of casting? What sort of stage had you thought about some of these characters, or was that later down the line with everything?
Well, I thought of Jodie pretty damn early because, number one, we all miss her, I think. We need more of her.
Yeah.
And what better than on a series, because that's a lot of minutes of her. But on top of that, on understanding the genre that I was doing with the macabre killings and the mystery and the atmosphere that comes obviously from True Detective, but True Detective comes from Seven. And
Yes.
7 comes from the Silence of the Lambs. So why not go to the very thing that started it all and bring it back to the final result? So I wrote with her in mind, thinking that it was never going to happen, but she loved the scripts. And she asked changes on the character. My own character was a lot more desperate and on the verge of a breakdown, trying to keep it together and do the right thing. And she was more interested in making her an asshole, which I loved because it resonates with expanding this tragic flaw, So we went for it. And Navarro was originally a Latina because I am a Latina, and I thought it would be so much fun to represent what I know deeply and intimately. But then the more I understood about the setting and the composition of these towns in Northwest Alaska and how they are 70% or more, the composition is Inuit and specifically Inupiaq. The more irresponsible it felt to bring two characters that don't come from the environment to try to figure out and solve the problem. And the less real, that no one from town is doing it. So I changed my Latina for a woman that is a mix. She has a part that is Latina, but she's not in contact with it. And she has lost her indigenous connection to the land. And she needs to reestablish it in the story. And so I realized that it was going to need a native star, which was not a thing that existed back then. Now there's a Lily Gladstone, but back then it didn't exist. And who also was an Amazon, a fighter, a woman that could kill you with her bare hands, and who was an ex-Marine, and who had the star power. And I talked to my casting director, and she said, well, luckily for you, there is this movie that just came out called Catch the Fair One, and this is the woman in it, and she's getting a lot of buzz. And she showed me a photograph of Kaylee, and just that photograph, I was, Jesus Christ, that's Navarro.
Yeah.
And then I saw the movie, and it just confirmed it. And we went, I had to go back to HBO and say, it's not going to be 2 stars. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, because I found this, and I feel that it's, our mission and an opportunity to create. Not to create, because you don't create. She exists and she is already that glorious, but to open the door for a Native American TV star.
Yeah.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer to learn more. See you this summer.
I mean, it's interesting, the sort of the 2-star things, because you think of franchises as big as True Detective and HBO doesn't necessarily need, but those names are always in the back of the mind in sort of sellability, and I suppose through the series there has been that as a theme as well. But it's great that you were able to sort of cast in that way and work around the story. So I mean, can we talk about the conversations that led to the setting of how you ended up in where you shot in Alaska, and how the research portion sort of informed where you were with the script as well?
Well, because I wrote the first episode in lockdown, I couldn't go to Alaska.
No.
So, and I don't understand that region. Well, now I do. I really do.
Yeah.
But back then I had no idea. I had read a couple of books years ago. That's it. So I started with social media, which is a wonder for research, because people in these regions of the world get so damn bored that they record they record their day. So there were videos of them cooking and driving their car around town and playing with their kids and going for sled adventures on the frozen ocean and picking up the mail and going to the supermarket. So I that gave me a very precise idea of the day-to-day life in these places. Plus, and to hear the voices and hear the dialogue and hear white people and hear Inupiaq people. And then then I was writing. As I was writing, I was listening to local radio stations of the region, and I did also spend countless hours watching Alaska Troopers.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, it's so funny, is you watch the series, and there's been a couple of comments on the internet that make fun of the fact that in the evidence room there's antlers and there's a cardboard box with a sign that says meth.
Yeah.
But if you watch Alaska Troopers,
Yeah.
that's kind of Switzerland compared with the stuff that you see happening in these outposts at the end of the world.
I suppose it's just so incredibly remote, and there's this oppressive nighttime, and when you've got this expanded nighttime, then it's such a different scenario to the sort of the bustling, awakened.
It is a different world. Alcohol is state controlled.
Yeah,
it's a different world. And then finally, I could jump on a plane and go there and be with the families and go on the sleds on the ice with them and eat the seals and the caribou that they had hunted.
Yeah.
I don't eat meat, but I did because it's sacred, the bond that creates with them.
Yeah.
And heard their stories and heard their songs and recruited them to come with me later. And a bunch of them came for the series. There's big numbers of non-actors that we brought from those communities in Alaska. And then the rest of the characters that we couldn't find in Alaska are Native American or Inuit Canadian, or Inuit Greenlandic, or Inuit Danish. So it became a kind of, as Tanya Tagak, a revered authority in throat singing and a rock star on her own right, called This Feels Like an Pan-Inuit Experience, which was very beautiful. And they felt right at home.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful.
And it brings a lot of authenticity to it as well.
Yes.
Just to finish off, can we just talk about maybe one of the biggest challenges of shooting in that kind of environment and, the TV show in general?
Well, needless to say, it's fucking cold.
Yeah.
There were nights that we were shooting at -23, and that's without counting the chill factor, the wind chill factor, which is the real killer in Iceland.
Cameras breaking as well?
Well, cameras didn't, but we did have a crane falling through the ice on a frozen lake.
Wow. Yeah.
We did have the fact that monitors, which are made of plasma, would get so cold that we had a delay in the video, which made it complicated to have a final opinion on a performance. We had the fact that the mouths of the actors, when they were saying the lines, the saliva would freeze, and then their words would be unintelligible. We had the problem that just going to the bathroom when you have 6 layers on you, it's an adventure in itself, and you're on the clock.
Yeah.
We had the problem that we were shooting something, and then or wise Icelandic gods of the ice would come running and say, we have a orange alarm. The wind is going to hit at 1:30 a.m. and when the wind hits in Alaska, in Iceland, you cannot be in a car because the car will blow off the road. So it was an adventure, but we loved it. It was an adventure.
If you had one bit of advice to give your younger self, trying to break into the industry, what might it be?
Don't listen to the outside voice putting doubts in your head.
Yes.
Just keep saying what you need to say. As long as the thing you're saying and you're putting in the screen is what comes from that little girl that you were, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I can't wait to watch the finale. I've been catching up on all the rest
very
of
soon.
the episodes.
Okay.
So best of luck and
thank you so much.
Well done. Great chat.
Thank you.
I don't want to waste more time on you.
Well, that was wonderful. Well done. Another one bites the dust. Issa López there talking about True Detective, which is on Sky Atlantic and HBO now. So you have no excuses not to watch it. It's fabulous. I thought it was really interesting her talking about that, how she waited years and years for a big break, and how we all did. I waited 10 years for mine. You got out, you made a couple of feature films straight out the block, and then waited a little more before your next one. But the amount of people that have that long period of time when you feel like your life is totally against you and you don't know why no one will give you a chance to go make a feature film, and it feels really desperate and horrible, right?
Yes, which has been sort of like, that's on top of the three years, like, forced feeling of that with COVID and the writers and actors strikes as well.
Mm-hmm.
so it's like that, you could even be on a decade on top of the 7.
Yeah.
But before she made Tigers Are Not Afraid, there was a long period where she was really struggling to get stuff made, and they were getting close, and that was that kind of night before the dawn moment, and then suddenly one film, it took a little while to get off the ground and make an impact, and then when it finally did start making an impact, the head honchos at HBO were looking for someone, and they came across that film, and then they were like, okay, this is the person to take a massive punt on, and give the True Detective,
that's incredible,
4th season to. So I mean, that's all it takes. You only ever one film or break, or call away from a big thing.
And then you've still got to put in the work and prove, with how you're going to develop it, or how you're going to write it, or how you are in a room, or how you are with people. It's not like, oh, Issa got the job and then that was it, cool, off you go. There's still so much to do. But the fact is that you can make a film and people can see it, and that can get you more work, is evident. It's happened to me, it happened to Dom, it happens. You make something, people will see it, or they'll hear of it and they'll go, okay, or you'll send it to them, and that will get you in the room. And it's all about the next step for you as filmmakers. That just is. And suddenly True Detective could be calling, HBO could be calling, Dom, and it's not just for you to pay the bills. The subscription. It's true though.
Very reasonable subscription.
Yeah. As the producer mentioned the other day to you, that he'd seen Winter Ridge, it's stuff like that that can make a huge difference, in terms of how we are. You just don't know who's watching. You don't know who's seeing your work. No, you don't know who's keeping an eye on you.
Yes.
But you've got to put yourself out there, and you've got to do it, and you've got to be brave sometimes and go, do you know what? I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go make my film now. I am just going to do it on weekends or evenings. Doesn't matter. Some people go, I can't make it because I haven't got the money. Sure, it's a big obstacle, but that shouldn't stop you.
Those people.
Yeah, they shouldn't stop you. Do it without money then. I know it won't be the film you dreamt of. You won't have your trailers, and you won't have your big payday. It almost doesn't happen. So don't be afraid.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
At the end of the day, obviously it depends what sort of step you're trying to make. But if you haven't made anything to impress, then do that first. Just get something that you can have as your calling card.
Yes. And look, if it ends up not being good enough, if you feel like this isn't good enough to put out, that's okay. Use that as an experience. Use that as, what did I learn from this to make myself better? And then go do it again. Because by not doing it, it's not going to get the call. HBO aren't going to call if you don't make anything. That's just the truth of it, right?
It's a hard-hitting HBO caliber episode, both on the process and the process behind the process.
Yes. Oh wait, that's HBO calling now. Yet you want to sponsor the episode? Great, excellent. It is brilliant. Go watch this series. Honestly, it's so good. To come up with this idea, this story, and execute it so well. And Jodie Foster is fabulous in it. As is Callie.
Oh yeah, they're both great. I mean, Callie sort of came in with a entourage to I was doing the junkets, and she's got such an energy about her. She's like real powerhouse, and she brings that to the series. But Jodie Foster was fascinating, sort of talking about how she developed this role and how she wanted to be quite a confrontational character, and how that was like one of her sort of conditions of doing the role was to really be sort of kicking ass and not taking any nonsense off anyone. All those conversations and I mean some of those scenes with them towards the end of the series, definitely up there.
Stunning stuff. Right, hope you've enjoyed this. Again, thank you for listening. We will see you next Tuesday, as always, when we have on surprise guest. going to
Surprise guest. One.
Going to surprise me who it is. We've already got loads lined up, but anyway, until that time happens, which will be next Tuesday, go out there and do something to go make your film, your TV series, your documentary, your...
Don't put it on ice.
Oh, was that a reference to...
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dark Country, because it's set in Alaska where there is ice. Yeah, good.
Polar bear the consequences. There we go.
Right, thank you, Dom. Thanks for this and being brilliant.
No problem. Thank you, Giles.
Oh, my pleasure. We will see you all on Tuesday, or hear from us. Until then, take care. Bye.
Oh, I forgot to mention we had a matching jacket for the... Oh, never mind.
What do you mean?
Me and the director had like matching green jackets on.
Who did? You and Issa?
Yeah, I mean, they were slightly different, but we were in the same. We got the same memo anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think you sent me a photo.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Let me look. Wait, I'm going to look now. Let's see. Dom Lenoir. Here we go. Media links and docs. Oh, yeah. Oh, you've both got a matching green jacket on, stood by the True Detective poster, which is on Sky and Now TV now. You have! That looks really cool. You look great. You look really cute together.
Great HBO minds think alike.
Sponsored by HBO.
Past and future.
Oh, if only we could get the rights to Billie Eilish song, Bury a Friend.
Just speed it up slightly. We'll get away with it.
We'll get away with it. So it's only a podcast going out to thousands. But yeah, anyway, take care.
We might not be back next week.
Yeah, we might not be back next week if this podcast has suddenly ended.
Billie Eilish entertainment team.
HBO have rang and sued us, and it's all over.
Yeah.
We love you, HBO, obviously. Okay, until next Tuesday. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
What do you know? Why aren't you scared of me? Why do you care for me? When we all fall asleep, where do we go?